I'm going to explain a process for finding obscure brands to sell on Amazon, eBay, or other marketplaces. And part of what I do with this is provide tools as well that you can actually use to make this process a bit easier, which I'll get into a bit later. Now, first of all, why obscure brands? Right? We need to first answer the question, why are we even looking for obscure brands in the first place? Well, basically because the lower supply brings you higher profits, and I'm going to break down how that works exactly. For one, you have lower competition. When there are less sellers selling these brands, which there are less sellers selling them, then you have less competition. You have less other sellers selling the same products that you are selling. The other thing is you have more longevity with these products because the popular sourcing software that many sellers are using are not as likely to find these products if the brands for these products are more obscure. Obscure brands leads to obscure products. It's one and the same. High profits. Once buyers are not easily able to get these brands, they are willing to pay more for them. And in a lot of cases, they've already made up their mind that they must have that specific brand for that specific product. So when the products are scarce, the profits that you'll be able to get are going to be higher as you can charge higher prices for those scarce products. So now that we know why we're actually doing it, the other thing is, what are we actually doing and how are we actually going to do it, which is what I'm going to explain right now. For number one, you're going to find brands, right? First of all, you have to find brands. So in finding brands, it's going to take a long time to really go through manually and find brands. So instead, what I do is I use large list of brands from online stores and cashback sites. And I've already scraped these brands so you don't have to do it. Number two is searching brands. Searching brands means actually taking these brand names and searching them online. For instance, on Amazon or eBay. And to do that, I use automations that I've built that will automatically search marketplaces such as Amazon or eBay. And that can include browser automations as well as Google Sheets. I'll get into that some more later. Number three is sourcing brands. Sourcing brands basically means that we're identifying supplier sources, who actually sells these brands. Now, we can do this with a manual search on the products. Once we search for those brands on the marketplace, we can do a manual search. But again, I've also built automations that help to identify supplier sources by actually searching those brands on search engines and then looking at the domains that come up for those brands. So that's basically, those are basically the three main things that, or the three parts of the whole process that we're doing and how we're actually executing that process. Now, here are the resources that I provide. For one, brands list, right? I've already scraped thousands of brands from various websites so that you already have this list of thousands of brands. However, because you can't manually go through thousands of brands, you also need to use the automated Google Sheets. And basically with this, I've coded these sheets using app script that runs behind the Google Sheet, automatically searches these brands on search engines, and prints the results right there into the Google Sheet. So you have a list of your brands and you have also a list of suppliers or websites for those brands. The other thing is browser automations. Now, the browser automations, I use the browser automations for things that I can't necessarily automate in Google Sheets. For instance, a website such as Amazon, who's very strict about being scraped and how you can access their data. For that, I use browser automations because those run right inside the browser. And really, a browser automation is basically the equivalent of you manually sitting there going through the products and copying and pasting, except the browser is doing it itself. So you're not physically doing it. So it's not detectable. It's not a problem. You can do it all day long, really, without any problems. Okay. So that's the browser automations. Now, what you can do is see the description of the video for links to access these various resources that I just described above. But the easiest way, I mean, you're going to see a bunch of links, but really the easiest thing is just to sign up on my email list for sellers. Because in that email list, once you sign up for that email list, I go ahead and send you access to the free resources that I have instantly, rather than you asking for them or going through some other link to try to get to them. So right now, that is the easiest way to do it, is just to sign up on the email list, and you'll be sent to the free resources. And also, I will have provided instruction on this process, and I'm actually assembling it in a way that is like a course, so that you can just sit down and go through it page by page, rather than kind of trying to sort through all these YouTube videos that I have over the years, trying to figure out, what order to do these things in. No, I've actually, I'm assembling it actually in a way that it's in order in the form of a course. And so you can go ahead, and that's free as well. And you can just go in and navigate that so that you have everything in order. As far as what you need to do in order to find these more obscure brands, which leads to more, as I said, lower supply, higher profit products. So anyway, that's about it. I'm Mr. Mark, and just check for the resources. And if anything, I'll see you in another video.